Naptown, the city that always sleeps. Most people think nothing happens in this town that is halfway between nothing and nowhere, but they would be wrong. There's plenty that goes on in this town for those willing to look. Tensions run high as Detective Tanner and Gideon compete for the attention and love of Darling. Are these just the natural consequences of a scorned lover, or is something more sinister at play? But as always, the leads are many and the answers are few in the city that always sleeps. Alright, we're back in Naptown, everybody. Last time you guys began your investigation, Darling spent time at her job meeting her new coworkers, while Gideon and Tanner had some bonding time. Off mic, we decided that you guys actually want to meet up at the Mystic Grove to share information before you guys head off to your respective places. So you guys are at the Mystical Grove at your appointed meeting time, which is mid-morning, so probably 10-ish.
And Gideon is here too, right?
Do you want him to be here?
I mean, I assume he would be since he's going with us.
Yeah, he's supposed to go with us to the gun shop.
I didn't know if you told... So, if you wanted to rule that you guys decided to meet up at the Mystic Grove and then meet at the gun shop, so, let's have some time without him.
No, I mean, he could be there. It's fine.
Okay, he's there then.
So, I know that we had planned to go to the gun shop today, but I actually got another lead from my brother Art. So, I was wondering if you maybe wanted to follow that up with me, Seamus, and the three of you can go to the gun shop. Maybe we can reconvene after.
What's this new lead?
He sent me to somebody to talk to. Said there was a case that had seemed odd lately, so I thought I'd follow it up.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty good to me.
Well, I talked to Tanner a little bit about this last night. I have a couple other possible leads that I can put on the table, too, that I found from listening to the officers at work last night. So I don't know if maybe one of these is who you're thinking of, but I have I guess Tommy Reynolds wouldn't. He's still in custody. But then there's also a Jacqueline Cox that we can look into at some point.
For the sake of expediting this, you guys can find these people. We don't need to have, you searching phone books and running... you can find these people easy enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I assumed so.
Except Tommy you will have to, talk to the police if you wanted to talk to him since he is still in custody.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know anything about this Jacqueline, where she works, or?
I can find that out pretty easily, I think. Basically what happened is the officers last night were talking. She was harassing somebody, but it was all good by the time they got there. So I don't know. That one is kind of a weird one. I don't know a whole lot about her, but I'm sure we can find her. Oh, and then the other important thing that I picked up yesterday that seems to be a big deal is I have an acquaintance who is now working at the Chatterbox with me, and she used to be at the Red Phoenix, and that apparently is a thing, I guess. I don't know. I didn't get to hear too much about exactly what was going on there.
Who is this acquaintance of yours?
Oh, her name's Lillian Pascal. She's...
Oh, did I meet her?
Yes, that's the one that
that's right.
You've met.
That can't be a coincidence, because that's what Mr. McGuire said. He said he had gone to the Red Phoenix to see Lillian.
I agree. I kind of think Lillian Pascal's my primary person of interest, to use the parlance.
So it sounds like maybe tonight someone might want to check out the Red Phoenix, and I took work off so that I could help with this investigation, so it's probably not a good idea if I go back to the Chatterbox tonight, but if we need to split up again and someone wants to go and check out what Lillian's doing, that's an option too.
Well, I definitely want to go to the Chatterbox.
Yeah, that'd be a weird thing to have taken off work and then show up at work not working. Don't think that'd go over particularly well.
Right.
No, I'm thinking not.
Perhaps you can wear a costume.
Unfortunately, I can't copy what Faye does, so I think that my presence there would probably be known pretty quickly. I better avoid the chatterbox altogether.
I mean, you guys could always like kiss or something, then you could do it, right? Isn't that how that works?
I don't remember if that's a power. No, it's not. That's not what happens when I kiss Faye.
Oh, I guess I misunderstood then. My bad.
Did you have ulterior motives for asking that? I'm not judging at this point. I'm just curious.
No, not at all. I was literally trying to help.
Gideon raises an eyebrow.
If Darling's trying not to look like Darling, I thought that might be one way to do it.
No, that would just mean that I turn into a dove. That's about it.
Well, I think it makes sense for you to not go to the chatterbox, but maybe Gideon, you can join Tanner and I later tonight. We can scope the place out, maybe talk to Lillian.
If that's what you want, I am known as to be seen with Darling before. I don't know if that will blow our cover, but, it might just look like I'm trying to get there, so that should be fine.
Yeah, I mean, people might just think that you're there to see her, and you didn't know she wasn't working tonight.
Works for me.
Do you know this, Lillian Pascal, Gideon? Like, have you met?
Oh, no more. I think Darling knows her much better than I. I've run into her a couple of times.
I just didn't know if you could make introductions, being in, as it were.
I think Darling would be much more prepared for that than I would be. I know her because of Darling, not otherwise.
Gotcha.
Can I make a insight check? What is it called in City Miss?
I'm going to argue it's an investigate, but it's not going to be asking questions. It'll be giving you a read depending on what you get.
Okay.
What are you using? Or you could roll flat, you know what I mean?
Intelligent and Men of Power?
I'm going to say no on intelligent, but I'll give you Men of Power.
Okay.
Intelligent just feels too broad if you could use it for literally
Yeah. 10.
10?
Right.
He seems on the up and up.
Okay, so I think he's telling the truth about not knowing Lillian that well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, nothing seems suspicious. Like, he said, he knew her through Darling, which Darling can confirm. So.
Right. All right, well, I think we can go our separate ways, then reconvene here and have a lovely night out, as it were.
Yeah, I guess we'll see you two later. And Darling is looking at Faye with just
save me.
Are you kidding me, eyes? Trying her best to convey, what the heck?
Why are you leaving me? No, I think Faye tries to give her a look like, we'll talk later, and then heads out with Seamus.
Great.
Who wants to go first?
Either.
All right, let's go to the gun store. What car do you take? Or I feel like Gideon is heading to his car.
I would offer, but I also, wouldn't care. If Gideon's heading towards his car, I would just go to his car.
Okay.
The real question is, where does everybody sit?
Well, Gideon holds the door for Darling to sit in the front.
Yeah, so she's gonna take that.
Tanner slides into the back seat and kind of his feet aren't on the leather because he's classier than that, but his legs are kind of stretched out cozily.
So you guys are able to find the gun store easily enough. You got the location of it from what's his face last night. So you get there and it is open.
I don't think I've ever really explained how short Darling is, which has got to be a hilarious sight because they're pretty tall dudes, right?
Tanner, no, not tall, but not short.
He's tall compared to her. She's
average height. I
very
imagine
tiny.
Gideon's taller than he is.
How short is Darling?
She is not 5 feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's very short.
Yeah, and Gideon is easily over 6, 6'2", 6'3", somewhere in there.
Yeah, so we go in. What do we see?
It looks like a generic gun shop. There is a guy that is behind the counter. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Second Amendment. What can I get for you today?
Well, first off, may I congratulate you on the sensational appearance of this gun shop. First off, beautiful store, I love it. Second off, we understand you had a disturbance here the other night, and I could see how maybe you're feeling that the police are not doing enough to handle the situation. And well, sir, you're in luck. I'm not the police, I'm a private detective, so tell me what happened and what I can do to help, because I don't want to see other gun stores getting robbed, cornerstones of our civilization.
Well, I told the police everything, but I agree with you. They don't feel like they're doing a whole lot. They feel like they're they let the guy go. Like, I'm sure it was him. You know, he came in, he took a lot of the fully automatic guns, if you will. A lot of those Chicago typewriter ones, and then just booked it out of here. I saw his face, looked me dead in the eyes, didn't really seem to recognize anything, but then got out of here.
Okay, so back up. You're telling me this guy smashed in through the front door, grabbed all the Tommy guns, and then just sprinted off into the wild.
I mean, I think he got into his car or something.
All right, and you, like, visually identified him, right?
Yes, I did. Pulled me in for a lineup and everything.
Did the police tell you why they felt they couldn't hold this guy? Because they told me there wasn't enough evidence, and I feel like an eyewitness account is pretty good evidence, you know.
I mean, they said they couldn't do anything because there was no guns. He's an upstanding citizen. There was like, they think I'm lying, and there's like no way to like. I know you said this was a really nice gun store, but does it look like the nicest?
I don't know, Zach. Does it look like the nicest?
It's the Walmart of gun stores.
Okay. I want to roll an investigation check, and what I'm hoping to glean from this is if he's being sketchy.
Okay.
And I want to apply private detective, marksman, because I know a lot about guns, and truths that are hidden.
I would say knowing a lot about guns doesn't tell you if a guy is lying or not.
You could tell me if he's lying about guns, like if he says that he's carrying Tommy guns and all he has on the wall are shotguns.
I mean, he's not going to have any Tommy guns on the wall right now. He was robbed.
No, but he could have something like it.
Fine, I will allow it.
Cool, 9.
It didn't matter.
Get more clues.
It made him feel good inside.
He seems to be. He doesn't feel like he's doing anything illicit, but he doesn't feel like he's shooting exactly straight with you about his store.
Gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna take a look around. Why don't you speak to my associates here? They might have more questions. And I specifically am, like, trying to pawn him off on the much more endearing Darling.
Cool, Zach gets to have a conversation with himself soon if Darling pawns him off.
No, Darling's not going to pawn him off. Yeah, so Darling kind of comes up to the counter and she leans over against it. So, you mentioned that he didn't seem to recognize anything. Did he look like, I don't know, he might be under the influence or something?
Kind of felt that way. He didn't seem to really do anything different. He looked me dead in the eyes, no fear or anything, just turned and walked away.
Now, is there any reason that you can think of why he might have targeted you?
I mean, I don't have the fanciest of locks. I've been meaning to replace the door for a while, and, usually we close up a little early, so maybe he thought that was a reason, but other than that,
I want to roll an investigation, too, and try and kind of do the exact same thing Tanner did. I want to see if he's telling me the truth, that this is not really a place worth robbing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What are you using?
I'm going to use Close Confidant. And I think rumors. I think those are the two that make the most sense.
Okay, I'm good with those.
Cool, that's a 14.
Dang.
So those literally didn't matter.
Yeah, a little bit.
What did you ask? You asked if he's...
I asked him if there was any reason that he could think of why his store was targeted. And I'm trying to see if he is telling the truth.
Yes and no about telling the truth. He is telling the truth in that his store is like everything he told you is true and would be good reasons to rob his store. Like they are not, they do close a little early. He glancing at the locks and stuff. It doesn't look like he has the most security at this place. Being a gun store, he thought he could get away with I have guns here. No one's going to rob a gun store. But it does feel like there is stuff he isn't telling you. Like other reasons?
Okay. Since she's already leaning over the counter, Darling's gonna kind of reach over and put her hand on his. Oh, believe me, I know it's so stressful when things like this happen, but I really need you to be honest with me right now because that's the only way that we're going to be able to help you. And so I want to roll again to whatever the convince one is. I think that's... Oh, convince. It is a thing. So convince, I'm going to use dominatrix, control the will of others, and I want to use Gideon as I got big, tough muscle behind me.
I'll allow that.
Sweet. That's a 10.
I shouldn't be telling you this, but I sometimes don't always sell the best of merchandise. You know, like reused things, you know, fireman pins that might not always be in the best of shape. You know, stuff like that. And a customer or two might have come back dissatisfied a time or two, but I never did anything that would make anyone that mad, I don't think.
When you say a customer came back dissatisfied, it wasn't the man who robbed you, was it?
No, I'd never seen him before in my life.
Well, thank you so much for your time. That actually helps us quite a bit. And I think Darling turns to head out unless you can think of anything else, Cody.
I have one other thing I'd like to ask. Well, actually, so, Zach, I did pretty good on that investigation, right? Can we wrap into that role that I want to look around and see if his stock would imply that he might carry something like a Thompson submachine gun? Which, albeit popular at the time, is a specific kind of gun.
You do see higher caliber things.
Okay.
You don't necessarily see any machine guns, but you see it's not just like pistol, shotgun.
Okay. So it's a wide enough variety that I could so that doesn't seem crazy that he would have that.
Yeah.
Before we go here and get out of your hair, have you heard anything about other stores getting robbed for, similar things?
I don't think so, but I mean, there's been that crime spree that's been going on. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if another gun store or two have been robbed.
All right. And you said he seemed kind of dead-eyed, right? Like non-responsive? Zombie-like almost?
Yep, that's right. There's like catatonic. Maybe he'd be drinking, that illegal stuff.
I understand, and thank you for your help. We'll follow up with you if we find out anything valuable for you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm trying to keep myself in business, and I just took a big hit. And if I could get those guns back, that'd be mighty helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Also, change your locks and invest more in security. But whatever.
Hands a card for Seamus.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I understood that correctly, Zach. So he said that he sells like secondhand guns. So like they're not always the most taken care of, I guess.
Yeah, so he does the equivalent of like what they did during Prohibition with alcohol, where they like watered it down and made it crappy.
Okay.
So like he does the equivalent with guns, which Zach does not know enough about guns to know what that actually means.
I would assume that means like he like buys up like secondhand used ones and maybe doesn't quite factory rejects and doesn't quite fix them up well enough to really be...
They're not totally refurbished.
Yeah, and like he's hoping that the people that buy them don't ever use them so that they don't ever know that they don't work right.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure I took the right notes, but...
That was the impression I got.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Basically, he does not sell guns that are necessarily good guns, he sells guns that are cheap.
Okay.
Again, Walmart of gun stores.
So we flip over to...
Flip to Faye and Seamus. What you about?
So... as we go our separate ways, I think Faye and Seamus are going to start walking away from the Mystical Grove. Seamus, sorry for dragging you into this, but I have a suspicion about something, and I need you to help me follow up on it.
Yeah, I wondered when you specifically wanted to go somewhere with me that you might have a reason for it.
Right. Well, I have a hunch, and I didn't want to say it in front of everybody, but I've been putting some things together in my head, and I think it's odd that we find out that there's a crime spree and a new rift has come to town, and then Gideon shows up. A rift coming back to town. I don't know if it's actually connected, but I just want to smooth out just see if we can find anything about him. See if he's really on the up and up.
So you think he might be involved somehow? I thought he was working with the Order.
Yes, and that would be the best thing if he weren't really involved. I just think it's a little odd, and that we should maybe just do our due diligence and make sure there's nothing untoward about him.
Okay, where should we start?
So the reason I wanted to come with you is that I wanted to go to the VFW, maybe ask around about him. I figured with your military background. You might know people there. Could maybe figure out a way to ask about him.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we could definitely do that. What did we do? What does the VFW actually do again?
I think that's like support for veterans who are back.
Okay.
And I think also provides just like a social group.
Yeah. It's like halfway between like a government organization and a country club, as we said.
Okay. I heard you guys talking about it, but I didn't quite process all of what you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as Caitlin said, it provides support and helps out a lot of veterans, but it also is a place for like veterans to meet and gather, like, and talk with fellow veterans, kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, we could definitely do that. I actually spend some time there on occasion, not very often, but some guys around there would know me.
Good. That's what I was hoping, that you could take the lead on this. Sorry for dragging you into it.
No, don't worry about it at all.
All right. So we head to the VFW.
All right. So you head there. You find a nice enough looking building. It is not derelict, but it is also not fancy. You head in. It is a more open room. There's some tables and chairs around for meeting. It is not dissimilar from a bar feel, but there is no bar part of it. You know, it looks like that's illegal, and that's not what the VFW does anyway. But it's kind of like, it's got circular tables where people can meet and chat and stuff. You know, there's some stuff in the corner for, does pool exist at this point? I'm going to say there's a pool table.
Oh, for sure. I think pools existed for a long time.
I have no idea.
There's a pool table, a piano.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like stuff to keep them occupied. So it's a little bit on the nicer end of this kind of thing, but it's still not nice by Faye standards. Like, it's passable by Faye standards.
We'll say Faye's family standards.
Well, I mean, like, it's not what Faye would consider nice.
Sure.
Seamus would consider it like a nice VFW.
Yeah.
Faye would be like, this place could use a coat of paint, some new flooring, a couple new tables and chairs.
Yeah, I got it.
She's used to a certain type of life. So as you walk in, a wiry man who looks to be in about his mid-20s, a little bit younger than Seamus, calls over. Is that you, Seamus? Seamus, is that you? You recognize this gentleman as Leon O'Line. He was in your platoon. You weren't really, you would see him from time to time, but
so he's also Irish. He's just playing with Seamus.
He is Irish like I am German.
Gotcha.
Hey, Leon. I mean, you know it's pronounced Seamus. Why do you always do this to me?
I've seen how it's spelled, It looks like Seamus.
Whatever.
Who's the lovely lady you got with you? Hey, ma'am, how you doing?
Pleasure to meet you.
This is Faye. She's I guess a business acquaintance.
Business? Just business?
Yes, just business, Leon.
Hey, Faye, would you mind if I buy you a drink sometime? I mean, take you to a jazz club sometime?
Illegal.
Hey, you might want to watch out. She is a lawyer,
Oh, in that case, I was totally talking about a jazz club. I'm just used to the overseas where prohibition doesn't happen.
You don't have to worry, Leon.
So, what brings you to the VFW today? Old Seamus? He ribs you.
Well, I was actually I was hoping to get some information, see if anyone around here knows a guy. His name's Gideon. He's also military.
Oh yeah, Gideon. I've met the guy once or twice, and by once or twice I mean he kind of replaced you when you decided to go into the reserves.
Yeah. So I didn't particularly know that, but I met him recently. I'm just kind of curious about him. I just don't really know a whole lot about him.
Make an investigation roll just to determine how this is going to go.
All right. I don't even know what stuff can I apply. I'm looking at my tags. My tags don't really seem applicable. I mean, I guess I could do dog tags and knowledge stuff.
You could do knowledge of the past for sure.
Yeah, let's do knowledge of the past. Let's do that one.
Don't think anything else really matters here.
Yeah, it's a 3.
So
I rolled snake eyes.
The course of the next 45 minutes, you hear the most banal and trivial things about him. he like tells you half of interesting stories. You know, it's like the you had to be there kind of stories.
Oh, like he would like start a story. He tells stories like I tell stories. He starts a story and then halfway through realizes there's another story that's kind of halfway involved. So he tells that story but doesn't finish it, and then some point goes and finishes the first story, but we've already forgotten about that story.
And he also does this thing that parents do where he's like, "Oh, you know this guy."
Yeah.
And it's like there's no way you'd know this guy. And then he spends way too long being, "Oh no, you definitely know him." You know, like it starts out being about like weird stories about Gideon, but like you just hear about basically everyone in the platoon. And like it's nice catching up about like stuff that happened to the guys in your platoon, but it is not helpful for what you're trying to find out in the slightest.
Well, I mean that was quite the information there, Leon. Not really quite what I was looking for about Gideon, but
Can you believe it? Michael's got 2 kids now. I mean,
that's crazy. Mm-hmm. So what have you been up to?
Oh, you know, like I'm got shore leave for a little bit, or whatever they call it in the army.
Yeah, shore leave. I mean, sure.
He's on leave.
I feel like the character I made would call it shore leave. You know, I'm on shore leave for a bit, visiting the parents and all that before I head back out on another tour. You know, it's nice being home, kicking around, seeing if anyone else I know is coming here. And lo and behold, you showed up, Seamus. It was great seeing you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you too.
I'll be in town for the next while if you want to check up on me at any time, hang out. You know, we could go like shoot the breeze.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
You can show me all the jazz club. And Faye, I mean, we can definitely get dinner sometime.
We'll have to see if Seamus and I can maybe meet you again. It was good to see you, Leon.
Once he walks away, I'm going to turn to Faye and be like, well, that quite wasn't what I was hoping for.
That wasn't what I was hoping for either, but
But I mean, we did learn one thing. We learned that Gideon basically took my position once I retired. That's an interesting thing to note.
Yeah, that surprised me as well. But it sounds like you two might have a lot of people in common that you know. So if
Don't
you run
make
into
me do
anybody
this.
else, what?
Don't make me do this. Do not make me make up 40 names.
You did this to yourself. You literally just did this to yourself.
I'm not going to keep pursuing this. It's just like if we run into anybody else, maybe we can find more information. But after that whole conversation, she looks at her watch. I think we better be getting back.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably a good idea. Is there any other leads we can follow up while we wait for the others?
No, I didn't get anything specific from Art, did I?
You got a name.
Yeah, you got a name, Evangelina Spira. So the notes I have was Evangelina Spira, party girl.
Yeah, you got a name of someone a client who'd been arrested. Not that you've dealt anything with it, like your firm didn't deal with it, but it was someone that like moves in powerful circles kind of thing got arrested.
Oh, and it was kind of like a scandal, right?
Yeah, it was basically like one of your parents' friends, like young daughter. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
I'll say you kind of know that like it is weird. Like getting arrested once is it's a little weird, but it's like not atypical for her. But getting arrested twice in like a week's time is kind of out of character.
Okay.
You know, it's not like you being arrested. It's someone who has a track record of not making the best choices.
Okay.
But usually she's a little bit more cognizant than this.
Okay. So Art did give me a name of somebody. It's a daughter of a friend of my parents, Evangelina Spira. Evangelina Spira. She's always been a handful, but I guess she's gotten arrested twice in 1 week, which is odd even for her. So she might have something else if we want to.
Do we know if she's still in custody? Or if she's in custody still?
She is not.
Okay.
I hate to suggest this for both our sakes, but we could stop in on my parents for tea, see what gossip they have.
I mean, that's totally up to you.
Is that a terrible way to take this, Zach?
Oh, you can do that.
Okay.
Have I met her parents at any point? Like, have we dealt with them in our various missions?
No way.
I doubt it.
You
I really
would
doubt
have
it.
the only person that Faye would not be embarrassed to take to her parents is Darling. Or that her parents would receive kindly as Darling. I don't know how Faye feels. I'm sorry for putting words in your mouth, Caitlin.
No, I think that's fine.
Seamus is not high enough in the military for...
Seamus, yeah, he's not an officer. He's working class.
Well, he was an officer.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah. He did the thing where he was like, since he was so good at what he did, he was promoted very quickly, so he became an officer at a really young age.
Oh, okay.
But then left of his own accord, or like stepped down.
There is not a universe where Faye's parents look kindly on Tanner.
No.
Not that Tanner is a bad person by any stretch or even grubby by any sense, but he is working class, and Faye's family has 2 lawyers, and whatever her parents do, or her father is a lawyer.
Right. So if you don't mind pretending to be my bodyguard in these dangerous times, we could go talk to them.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can do that. I definitely looked the part.
That's what I figured. I apologize in advance for absolutely anything my mother says.
How bad can it be, right?
Well, we'll see. So I guess it's probably closer to lunchtime. I think we'll swing by Faye's parents' actual house, and her mother should be home for lunch. I don't know if her father would be or if he'd be working.
I think your parents are kind of like retired-ish.
That's fair. I suspect my father's not as really involved with the firm.
I think he's like more on the board.
Gotcha, yeah.
Or like, like he's like there like more as a figurehead than like actually doing cases now.
Yeah.
And like he'll do cases that he wants to do and no one objects to that because he's a good lawyer. Mm-hmm. But like he's much more choosy, and like where you and Art are constantly doing cases to keep the...
We're like running it.
Yeah, you guys are like doing everything to keep the firm like...
We're doing the daily.
Running well and like doing a lot of cases and doing like raking in the profits.
Yeah.
He's doing so like basically the firm is now like a part-time thing for him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, he kind of does the cases he wants to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we head there.
All right. How are you getting there? Are you walking or are you taking the family car?
I mean, we walked to the VFW. I figure we can...
Okay. I didn't know. I don't know what impression you try to make with your family.
Keep walking there.
So you walk up and you to what you call home. Do you live at home or do you live somewhere else, Faye?
Faye has her own apartment.
So you walk up to the place that you called home for many years of your life, and it is home to you in many ways. Seamus, you walk up to what might possibly be the largest building you have ever seen anyone call a home. Basically think any mansion in any superhero TV show or any TV show. It's like,
I don't think houses were that big at this time.
Oh, they were definitely mansions.
I was thinking like a nice brownstone, you know what I mean?
No, that they're rich.
Okay.
Your family's very wealthy. They're very snooty.
Continue.
You get to decide your character stuff. I decide your family.
Okay.
You walk up to a very large estate, Vinny. It is very nice. And you guys knock on the front door. It opens very promptly, and you see a butler there. Yes. Mistress Faye, you are here. What brings this delightful appearance upon our doorstep?
Well, I was just hoping to stop in and surprise Mother for lunch.
Oh, joyous. You know how your mother loves surprises.
Is she free?
I will go check. And instead of inviting you in, he just closes the door.
That's Rogers. You'll get used to him, I guess.
He takes too long of a time, but not inappropriately long.
Okay.
Like enough to know that he's purposely
Power playing this.
Yeah, he's purposely being slow, but not enough that you could actually bring it up to anyone.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's rude to have you waiting 6 minutes. You're waiting 5.5. He reopens the door. Your mother has wondrously accepted your offer for lunch. Will this gentleman be joining us as well?
Yes, Seamus will be joining us.
Follow me, Mr. Seamus and Mistress Faye. So he leads you into the house. And the inside of the house is just as nice as the outside of the house.
Marble floors, lots of nice hardwood, polished to a shine.
Yeah, so it is what you imagine a rich house to look like, as Caitlin said. Polished marble. There's hardwood everywhere. There is gold inlay on a lot of things. There's very fancy art on the walls, that kind of stuff. You are led through expansive rooms. Nothing feels very tight. It feels very spacious. Everything feels very clean. To the point where you feel a little out of place, Seamus. It's kind of like going to church in your pajamas.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, well, I did not dress for this occasion.
Yeah, I was going to say, he definitely feels underdressed. I mean, he's not like in rags, but he's like, what would Seamus even be wearing on a daily basis?
Not a tuxedo.
No, not that for sure.
Like maybe a suit, but not a tuxedo.
I think it would be more like a button-down shirt with suspenders and maybe rolled up sleeves.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He's probably wearing like trousers with a shirt tucked in and with suspenders, and definitely wearing a flat cap, Irish flat cap.
So you are shown into a nice dining room. It is not your formal dining room, Faye. It's more where,
Heavens, wouldn't want to waste that on me.
I think your mother was not planning on company and you interrupted her in the middle of lunch because, as you see, she is currently in the middle of eating her lunch. Well, Faye, darling, it was nice to see you, but you do know lunch begins promptly at 11. It's like 11:30.
Yes, I just wanted to surprise you, Mother. I was in the area and thought I'd stop by.
I always love seeing you, and that is first and foremost, but you know how I hate surprises. I would rather you call ahead next time, please, so that I can tell Beatrice to make food for you so that you are well provided for while you're in your home.
I'll remember that.
Who is this? And she gives Seamus, like,
an eyebrow raise.
A very distasteful, it's palpable. You can feel this distaste.
The up and down look, yeah.
Fine-looking gentleman that you have brought into our humble home.
Hello, it's nice to meet you. I'm Seamus. I'm acting as bodyguard for Miss Faye on one of the cases she's working on.
Yet, with all the rash of crimes that have been going around, I figured it was best to have a little extra backup.
You can see her look visibly relieved that is your excuse.
That I'm not a boyfriend.
Right, yeah.
Well, that is very prudent of you, Faye. I'm very glad that you are taking care of yourself in these troubled times. Art and your father have mentioned that things have been a little bit more busy at the law firm, and by busy I mean turning down more people who were not willing to pay for the services and asking for pro bono work.
Right. I heard a rumor and wanted to ask you, what's this about Evangelina?
Make me a convince roll.
Can I use won't take no for an answer?
Yes.
That's an 11.
Well, you see, she didn't have as good of an upbringing as you and has taken to the more, shall we say, illegal kind of lifestyle. Nothing too bad, but she got caught being drunk of all things out in public a couple of times. I mean, I know I would never see you in anything like that, and heaven forbid you did something illegal. I raised you better than that, You know not to take that drink.
Right, he says slowly. Where was she? Is it one of those speakeasies, or?
Well, I only assume. So the way this is going to go, your mother doesn't really have a ton of information for you. I figured you were using her as a jumping off point to find this person, or using her for information.
I was seeing if she knew any more, scandalous details about the whole thing. I'm just trying to get a clearer picture, because before this, we just knew that Evangelina was arrested more than usual.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it, connect it to the other crimes that have been happening. See if there's a link somehow.
I just wanted to know what you were trying to get out of it, so we weren't just going in circles for half an hour.
Yeah, I guess if she was found, in the area of the Red Phoenix or the Chatterbox, that would be useful to know. Knowing that she's drunk and not, stealing something, that would be useful to know. I'll stick with that. Does that help you, Zach?
Yeah. Faye, why in God's good name would you think I would know where a speakeasy is of all places?
I was just wondering where she was found so that I don't accidentally stumble across an unsavory area.
Well, I'm unsure where she was, but you better not go looking for any of those speakeasies, Faye Cameron.
Surely not, Mother.
The way you said that, it sounded like she was doing the middle name drop, so her name is now canonically Faye Cameron.
Well, she looks at her watch. I should probably
No, please stay. I already ordered Beatrice to begin cooking you up some lunch.
Oh, well, that would be lovely.
So again...
She flashes a sorry look into Seamus.
You have a uncomfortably quiet lunch with your mother.
Gotcha.
There is no food for Seamus.
Oh, no.
She assumes Seamus is the bodyguard and that he will be taken care of otherwise.
Gotcha.
You know. She looks at him as hired help, and it's like, well, he
Yeah.
eats on his own time. He doesn't eat while he's protecting my daughter.
Gotcha.
And you did not dismiss him, ergo, he is on your time.
Gotcha.
So
I think we, after an uncomfortable lunch, we say our goodbyes, and Faye and Seamus leave and go and get food for Seamus before, or we could just go back to the Mystical Grove and he could get food there. Again, Seamus, I'm so very sorry.
Well, that was interesting.
okay, so you guys head back and meet at the Mystical Grove.
This is a little bit maybe out of context.
Oh, you guys have to have you were going to have a scene in the car, right?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Beep beep, we're in a Jeep. I'm great at scene transitions.
Tanner's sitting like in the back seat again, kind of stretched out and comfy, just kind of like nodding his head along with the car driving and goes, so we have to work together for a while. Is this gonna be weird now?
Why would it be weird?
Oh, because I think kind of both of us, and I like gesture at me and Gideon, both seem to be courting you, which is fine, but can lead to professional issues.
Well, Tanner, I like you as a person, and I would not let any of this get in the way of the order.
Well, that's good to hear.
All that aside, me and Darling are obviously already dating, so...
Gideon, Darling is as sunk into the seat as she can possibly be.
Yeah, that sounded really assured there, Gideon. This is why I said I wanted to ask Darling's opinion.
I don't really want to have this conversation right now. That's my opinion.
Tanner just kind of like looks out the window and just goes, all right.
And you guys drive on in a more awkward silence than Faye and Faye's mom's lunch. Hey Wanderers, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Naptown Chronicles. If you want to hear more content from the Wandering Gamer Network, you can check out the Wandering Gamer Network website. We also post Let's Plays that we do on YouTube under the channel Wandering Gamer Network. On Twitch, we can be found at Wandering_Gamer_Network, and you can follow us on Twitter at the WGN Podcast. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. The intro and outro music was composed by Caitlin Belgman, who voices Faye in this podcast. All other music is openly licensed or in the public domain. Now, sleeper, it is time to rest. And remember, it is the gods who envy us.